Up here. What is the deal? Never seen this before. Okay, there it goes. All right, allegedly 7 seconds in. So check. All right, so it's been a while since I've done a Hogumathi update, and that's because I barely ever get to work on it. So because I can't work on commercial software in this house for political reasons, I can do development practice here, meaning if I want to practice my tech skills like the bootstraps, etc., I can do it. That's why I've been doing the dev practice ASMR streams, which is just me coding with no background audio. And yeah, so it's pretty hard to context switch. And so anyway, I've gone over in past streams why. Let me try to get in the scene here. I've got a new layout here. I know I've got a few different playlists going on this channel. So yeah, so yeah, I got to work on it this morning. I went to a coffee shop, and yesterday I went to a library, and I might have worked on it like 1 or 2 days at libraries like the end of last week. So it's just the fact that my alarm goes off at 3:30 in the morning, so that's when I'm up, and then the library opens at noon. So we're already talking about 8.5 hours into my day is the soonest I can start working on it. So sometimes I'll do an early morning ASMR, sometimes I'll do personal admin stuff, and then Thursday and Friday the library is open at 9, and Saturday I don't work at all until sunset, and then Sunday it's open at noon again. So I really only get 1, maybe 2 days a week of working on this. So yeah, we kind of pretend this whole being a refugee thing is a joke, being homeless is a joke, being trapped in domestic abuse is a joke. I talk about it for pity. Yeah, apparently men aren't supposed to let other men in on their burdens if they like them. And so the fact that I talk about my burdens means that I don't like or respect you. So yeah, I should just be not talking about being homeless and just, you know, not talk about anything like that. But we look at how messed up the world is today, and you know, I'll take my chances losing followers. Like, good God. So anyway, what have I been doing? So you'll notice the collections stuff, and here's just some random collection. I just wanted to make a example of a cross provider collection. So here's a tweet, so you see the name is that, and then they posted some links in this thread, and then I took the links from that thread, which were YouTube links, and put them here. And so this is already available to the early access people. If you go to the link in the description for Gumroad, you'll see an early access plan. So that's now $9 a month. I raised the price, or $33 per year. And then there's also an email support plan. So yeah, feel sorry for me and buy my stuff. It's kind of like the minority-owned business or veteran-owned business thing, where it's like, I've got a substandard product, but because I identify as this group that's worthy of pity, you know? I get it. So let me just open that. So you've got the data, the collections. So I've messed around with a couple different formats here. So this is the one that's effectively used. So we've got ID, and because this started off as just a Twitter app, ID is Twitter ID, and then I added these YouTube IDs as well. So ultimately it'll look something more like this. Twitter tweet ID, and then we can pass some parameters. And then YouTube video this, and then notes, server, file name, Instagram, type, post name, right? So this is the kind of stuff I've been working on already, and I'm not ready to publish it to, well, I could publish it to early access. But yeah, so basically, you know, why over-engineer, etc. Well, for one, this feature is already out, so I'm not delaying getting this feature out at all. And by the way, pardon the washing machine in the background. I've turned the gain up on the microphone, so I'm sure y'all can probably hear it. But yeah, so just for comparison, so I've got this route here, collection, and I've also got collection 2, and it will look exactly the same. So basically what I've done is, so when we start up, get content, YouTube video from source, YouTube facade, get YouTube video. So I'll just show you what happens when it starts up. Alright, so now we go registering content source, YouTube playlist, YouTube video, Mastodon, another YouTube playlist. Notice this one is from Feeds Facade and this one is from YouTube Facade. So there's still a little bit of work to do as far as like setting priority and this and that. You know, this is almost the kind of situation where you'd want something like Spring to do the configuration for us, but I'm just literally being like, it works and I just need to refactor it out until it continues working. So basically Twitter is the one that I've evolved the most. So I know not too many people, if anyone, are looking at the source right now. So we used to have Twitter, V2, Facade, right, I just did the old school underscore and .old to make it not work. So we've got all this stuff here, and basically what I've done is break that up into 3 files. So there's the init that just imports Twitter app from the facade, and then there's register content sources, which goes to content source .register. So we've just got these few content sources here. So one, to get a collection of tweets. I have not quite done this one yet. Still thinking about that a little bit. And then you can do individual tweets, so Twitter tweet and then some tweet ID, Twitter bookmarks, user ID, and Twitter feed user ID as well. And then I've created a couple routes for bookmarks too, just like with collection 2. So the thing is, with this computer, I don't have Git on it. There's one client in the Windows Store called Git Fiend, And the reason I can't get anything outside of the Windows Store is because I do prefer to actually have it locked down with the S mode, you know, strict content running policy, etc., etc. Maybe we'll go like that. Doodles. Okay. So get bookmarks 2. We actually go ahead and get content, Twitter bookmarks, user ID. And the user ID is our logged in user. And then I've got another one, profile 2, I think. Or latest 2. Maybe I just did that one route. So then, similarly in the collections, item collections, wherever it is. So there's get collection HTML. So this does a bunch of stuff, and what I have to do is actually know about the tweet source. The YouTube source isn't quite as evolved because I've been just like adding Twitter and then Mastodon and then YouTube and then RSS. And now it's like we're looking at Nostr. I've got partial email. So we're kind of getting into like all these, like why am I doing this? Just because like I'm learning Python and I know like a ton of languages, and this is a challenge for me. And it's kind of an app that, you know, I really want to use myself, and, you know, I'm not over engineering, which is why it's, you know, it's not big design up front. I'm just engineering enough to solve the problems that come up as I need to solve them and as I learn the language, etc., etc. So here again we have back to the code. So this is the old version, get just collection, not collection 2. So we've got to do this expand items, and we've got to pass in all of the tweets and all of the videos. So we map over items, we pass in all the tweets we got, all the video responses we got. So now picture we're adding BitChute, we're adding Nostr, we're adding Mastodon, we're adding Reddit, we're adding RSS. And so this code, everywhere we're mixing types of items, the code is exploding, right? So ID, YouTube ID. So then down below, I've gone ahead and mirrored those two functions. So we've got expand item 2, and I literally just copy and pasted, and get collections 2, copy and pasted. So now here, it's still not 100% final, and I actually think this is an extra step, because I just took the code that existed and modified it to use the new get content stuff. I added a get all content, which will take a list of IDs. So we map it from just the numeric ID to the Twitter tweet IDs. And basically what we do here, I do think these two lists could actually be one fetch, but I was just keeping it completely parallel because we go, so now expand items 2, tweet contents, YouTube contents, and then I mapped in this function to go, you know, exact same, except I changed it from tweets to tweet contents and YouTube vids to YouTube contents, and then I just did the mapping here. So the get all contents returns this by ID, and so then I just match the response. This is totally work in progress, but it's just like literally get it working. So once again, this is still split here, but now basically what we do is go to the next step of going, okay, this is all working. Now we'll make items 2 be called items, and get rid of these two obviously because they're not supported. So these two should be exactly the same now. And then once this format works, then we're all good. And I've got a couple other collections that I just have to map over. But yeah, so then from there, see, it's right here is where I actually do the ID mapping. So Twitter tweet ID, and that's from the JSON. YouTube video YT ID, and again that's from the item in the JSON. So basically our IDs would just be inherent here, so this if else would disappear. So now suddenly we can support all content types that are registered in the system. Which means for free, instead of having to build out, okay, if it's a Mastodon item, if it's a BitChute item, if it's an RSS item. Hogumathi is actually an interesting one. We take the session token and can make sub requests back into the system. Although that is a little bit of a legacy from before. That was like V1, get it working. Now V2 is actually get this whole content system in place. So, not supposed to say that's maybe only once or twice per this video. Not too bad. I'm pretty good about the ums. The likes are getting a little bad. So yeah, collections are a major feature that motivate me to do this, because logically you can think of the bookmarks as a collection, you can think of the likes as a collection, and then from there, if you're talking about doing automations, you can, say poll every 5 minutes, sync your bookmarks for every bookmark, add it to another collection source, say a JSON file, and then delete it from your Twitter bookmarks. So it's just a way to create a workflow. If you're using the Twitter web UI, but you want some automations to happen, it's like, oh, we'll just use if this, then that, whatever, whatever. So the whole point of this, go back to the video. All code is technical debt, and no code is intellectual debt. So this is basically, I am learning Python. I have been a data engineer and platform engineer for a long time. So it's a little bit hard to just make like data and platform engineering demos if you can't make it look good in the UI. And, I claim to be full stack developer, and it's like last time I did UI was Bootstrap 4, like just enough to learn Bootstrap 4. I didn't do a big app in it. I think I just put like 1 or 2 little things on GitHub. Or I might have even held it hostage for my Patreons, because this, I think, was like 2019, before all the crazy court stuff tied up all my time. Which will be 3 years, actually, on April 20th, which means the court orders will be lifted. Hopefully I'll be taken out of all the police databases. But, I mean, the info is still, if you Google search for me, it'll still say that I'm violent, so whatever the background check says, it says I'm violent. So it's going to be, basically I don't have a choice to do anything legit except maybe freelance, and just hope that people won't look me up or do this sort of, making open source versions of stuff that a creator might use, such as myself, a creator who's facing, I haven't really heard the term deplatforming in a while, but, people are still getting shadow this, shadow that. I'm just sort of like through my testing the platform phases, although I haven't tested Twitter post Elon. I am still some kind of shadow something on YouTube, so, So now basically Twitter, the feeds facade, which is not open. Is the first spot where I was really messing with merging sources together, stuff like that. So yeah, basically the way that this already works, this is also available to early access. So you've got the get following list when you get latest. It gets a list of who you're following. It gets a post for each one, so you've got this get posts function. And so this is like hella hacky. Again, it's just proving the concept. So if we've already got a cached copy, get it. That's obviously super janky. And then it literally just switches by user ID. And so it's like, I want to get like a YouTube one, a BitChute one, another BitChute one, Reddit one, a LiveJournal one from a popular RSS feed, which happens to be Simplecast, Slashdot I haven't done yet, whatever this guy's blog is I haven't done yet, a YouTube playlist, an app that I made, Bed RSS, that's on my Gumroad store for $30, gives you an RSS feed per user, unlimited users. Mastodon, GitHub, haven't coded that yet, like, because it's just getting repetitive, because it's like, you know, most of these atoms are pretty similar. A little concept I did of getting a collection of OEmbed links. Here's the internal Hogumathi one that makes a sub request. And that was kind of a concept thinking about how JSP does stuff. You can do internal and external requests. So I was looking basically for a way to do internal requests for Flask. There's one possible other approach, which is test client. So I'll have to mess around with that a little bit. But just like the naive way of taking my cookies and passing them into a sub request works. So that's cool. The Receipts app, which is another app I have on Glitch, etc., etc. So this is the foundation of the content sources stuff, right? So now we have get following list. And so here is just using like the properly well-formed IDs, and then get latest to HTML. So this is, you know, copy and pasted again, but just using the updated stuff. So get following list. And then now for each of those, call get content for that follow. And I think I've just got a bunch of default content sources that I register here that you see in boot up. So I mean, this is like the most spaghetti janky code ever, but it's sort of like, it's a little bit of a learning pipeline for me. Like, I can just push a little bit ahead, a little bit ahead, a little bit ahead, and, you know, I know some people might be like pulling out their hair like, oh, just start making sales, just start making sales. Well, it's like, kind of have to do something and know my capabilities. Like, remember, I just started learning Python last May, maybe even almost June when I got this laptop. So this big app I even just started in November. And then after January, I've only worked on this maybe 4 or 5 days in all of 2023 so far, and we're halfway through March, right? So, yeah, it's sort of like I forget stuff that I've done in here and everything like that. And because I did create a Git repo, actually. I do want to expose this to my early access people. So we've got these tickets. And I think it's just by milestone. So you've got get first customer milestone. So you can see there is some method to the magic, to the madness, some method to the madness. So it's like one of the big features is collections. And that's so that I can get some demo collections, get the architecture and extension points generally documented, and get the messaging UI strategy. That's, I have actually, there's a little bit of support for messages, but it's like last priority. Like, I built a messaging app before. Personally, I don't use messaging, although, my thinking about it is getting a little bit more tight, because, so the thing with all this, narcissistic abuse and, basically raised by a narcissist and all this stuff, it's like when you're raised by a narcissist, you are trained to not have personal boundaries. And saying no is a big new thing that even happened within the last 10 years. So, yeah, so it's basically I'm focusing on this because I've actually got so many collections and themes and brands and whatnot that I personally, just for my own personal use, want to compile. When I take notes, so something that I've been thinking about too is notes are basically ephemeral and knowledge base is long-lived. So it's sort of notes are to knowledge base as coding is to software engineering. So something I talked about a long time ago is just software engineering is programming over time. So it's sort of like a calculus relationship where it's you can code at point in time and things will be good and this and that, but it's the sum of your development activity over time is software engineering. So it's pretty similar for knowledge bases and notes. So I've got the notes app, right? So now we're going from notes to knowledge, and basically doing it in the context of a social media app. But you noticed the hint of having notes as part of a collection, right? So yeah, then, milestone 10 customers online. So then we've got add more backends, various features. Later timeline, get funding. So, a polished theme and brand themes. So brand pages is something I've been adding, and I don't actually have a item for it. That or it's not categorized, one of the two. Kind of doing that within brands. Oh yeah, component brands, brand themes. Anyway, so yeah, my rice and beans are probably just about done. There it goes, ESPN, right? So yeah, should probably wrap this up. Any last thoughts? Oh yeah, so yeah, this, I just did a standalone, register component source thing. So I've been doing in my dev practice ASMRs. Not every single dev practice is ASMR'd, but yeah, over 2 days I did, one day I just did the basic of basic. This is basically the test. The most basic I could possibly do. I tried another approach, decided to, just because it's more code, just basically refactored the get content, register content stuff. compute once in the beginning versus compute many times at the end. So I just add a little bit. So I've got the README. So it just kind of says, how they expand. So this is something that'll be available to my Patreons as well as early access to this app and free coupon codes for my other apps. So, I mean, there's a huge bonus to doing it. Who knows when I'll take those down. And then just one final thing. Hopefully my beans aren't burning too bad. So yeah, basically just kind of getting the architecture fleshed out a little bit in the doc. This is literally just scribbling my thoughts out, so nothing major yet. But there is a major feature of it. I'm saying more because I'm getting nervous. Well, I'm saying more and I'm getting nervous because my food might be burning. So that's the personal boundaries thing, putting others ahead of yourself. You're used to letting your food burn for the benefit of others, right? So I haven't used that one in a while. Twitter app, where are you? And I know the people with self-respect are saying, bro, go get your food, go get your food. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I just need to finish this. So we've got the syndication taxonomy, and I'm not going to click onto that because that'll be saved for early access people. I'm not sure when I'll get an early access next release up, but maybe this week, maybe Thursday or Friday or something, but I can't promise anything until once I have $25, letting the beep go by. Once I have $25 a week of sustainable income, then I know that I can go for more than 4 days a week of working on this. And that's sort of the minimum with the gym, is like, if you don't go 3 days a week, you might as well not go. And that's sort of been my thinking with developing this a lot. So I've been doing personal admin stuff, even though it is extremely painful to not be working on this, even though I feel like people watching me could be lapping me and releasing their own versions and blah, blah, blah. It's just sort of like I've set my boundaries about when I can work on it, when it makes sense to work on it. And yeah, basically I need at least $25 a week to work on it regularly. And it's like for every $5 a week, I can work on it 1 day a week. And my Patreon income right now is $9 a month, and my bank costs $7 a month. So do the math. So yeah, that is that. And yeah, so I love working on this. And oh, you're just saying that because you want to blah, 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 blah. Faking the passion. Just admit you're just in it for the money. You just moved to Silicon Valley for the money. Blah, blah, blah. Right? I've been doing this since, you've just been trying to get rich forever and you're a failure. That's why you're pretending to be homeless and pretending to be abused, and you're slandering everybody. You're making drama, trying to get attention any way you can. You don't have any real skills. Look at how crappy and spaghetti your code is, right? I hear you. But anyway, take away what you will. This is what I've been up to for basically since I've done the last update this year, which was weeks or months ago. So yeah, looking forward to working more on this soon, and hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you see some benefit to coming and getting on the Patreon. So thanks for joining. Bye.